Hey everybody. Whoa, if you didn't have any FOMO about ETHDenver 2022 before, you must have it after watching that video. Amazing shout outs to the crew for putting that together. So today we're here, day 2 of the live stream, and we have a packed schedule for you guys to answer all the questions that you might have about ETHDenver this year, happening February 11th to 20th. So I'd just like to go over some of the stats because it's pretty cool. There's been a tremendous response to ETHDenver this year. Obviously, we're all excited to get back to an in-person event. There's over 10,000 applications to hack. That's crazy. There's millions of dollars in bounties, grants, and follow-on funding. That's insane. And there's three venues. Normally we just have the main venue, the sports castle. We're still got that this year. We're going back to the castle, but we got 2 additional venues and 6 stages total. Lastly, I have to mention the Rocky Mountain Retreat, which has already had over 2,000 interested applicants. So without further ado, let's kick this off so we can answer all your questions. Let's go to the schedule. So we've got 9 tracks for hackers this year, and these are the biddling tracks. John Poller, the executive steward, is going to go over all of these with you in just a couple of minutes. We've also got the ETHDenver Creative with Jessica Angel. So this is all the sort of makerspace, creative sort of design around the entire event, the vibe, the feeling of the whole space and all of the venues. She's going to cover it all. It's going to be amazing. She's a talented artist, and we're really excited to have her back this year. We're going to cover judging with Jason Lee. So he's going to go over all the details. I'm sure all the hackers and everyone wants to know how their projects are going to be judged. And lastly, he'll also cover the Mountain Retreat, which I'm personally really excited about and will be attending. All right, so let's bring up John Poller. Yay.
What's up, Matt? How are you, man?
I'm doing great, man. This is so exciting. I'm bouncing off the walls. Can't wait to get down there.
Yeah, well, we got a place for you, man. Anytime you want to come, and just show up.
Sounds
Colorado's
great.
very friendly. Le Chateau Paillet is waiting for you. So I'm going to talk just a little bit about the tracks and sort of the vision. We get a lot of questions about, like, okay, well, historically we've only had like the open track, the impact track, and the Colorado Jam. So like open was like everything. Well, we've got so much happening now, and we've got so much diversity in our biddler population as well as our sponsors, that we just felt like it was important to showcase and not hide some of the projects that might otherwise not, you know, I mean, if you're all competing over the same thing, it's like it's kind of comparing apples to oranges in some ways. So we have 9 tracks this year, 9. So there's no shortage of opportunity to be earning bounties and prizes in these tracks. Each of these tracks will have a $15,000 prize pool that will be split up amongst the top projects. And in addition to that, keep in mind that bounties are not exclusive to prizes, right? So you can actually layer them on top of that. So what bounties are, to clarify, is that those are incentives that projects put up to engage different teams to do different things, accomplish certain types of technical feats or whatever it might be. And yeah, the bounties will be announced by each project coming up late this month, early next month. So without further ado, I'll just kind of talk about each of the tracks. So Colorado Jam is back. Colorado Jam is in partnership with the state of Colorado. We have built a public-private partnership to really incubate early-stage Web3 technology in the Colorado state infrastructure. We currently have an initial cohort that we're working with to work on a couple of use cases for the state. The state will probably have something around 12 to 15 use cases that they'll put up for this year's installment. And the state will participate in judging these projects. Now, One of the things that happens with Colorado Jam after this is that a certain number of projects will be invited to join the Colorado Jam Technology Sandbox, which the goal there is to actually build an MVP pilot program so that we can actually test this stuff out in the state infrastructure or propose it to a state agency that might be able to use it. So DAOs and communities. In 2020, our last IRL installment, we announced 2020 is the year of the DAO. Well, we're doubling down on that. Not that we're calling 22 the year of the DAO again, because that would be a little cliche, but we are doubling down on the fact that DAOs and communities are here to stay. So we've got a whole track for that. DeFi, obvious. Impact is back. Mobile first. So our track sponsor, which we'll talk about track sponsors throughout the month. Cello will be the ambassador for the mobile first focus. And NFTs are obviously here to stay. Mainstream adoption is really kicked off with NFTs. Gaming and metaverse, sort of a related cousin to NFTs. Infrastructure and scalability, so getting back to tool sets and layer 2, like how are we going to get to the next level on the core technology. And then the most recently added track is space and the new frontier. So this is sort of for where anything that doesn't fit into these other tracks, the next frontier, what is that? So space being obvious, but there might be others. Who knows? We have a really diverse creativity set in our community, and we don't really want to encumber any creativity that might be expressed. So that track is there for you as well. So each of the tracks will have a track ambassador, which will be sort of you could call it the steward of that track to help answer questions and direct traffic. And we will also have, for the first time, a track hub as one of our sub venues at the Marist Gallery, which is right next door to Temple, which is one of our secondary venues. So that's just up the street, about a block from the sports castle. So everything that we're doing is very much in close proximity. We're trying to make sure that there's not really any travel necessary. It's just kind of a walk up the block. And so that's where it's going to be. And there will be all sorts of different things happening at the track hub to help orient teams, create teams, answer questions, provide information, or just generally socialize with the communities that are helping our community ambassador these different tracks. So as I always say, we are a community of communities. So instead of having some sort of top-down hierarchical sort of execution of stewarding these particular areas, we've enlisted our community to do that. So these are top projects from around the community and from our ecosystem that are going to be providing this stewardship for the building tracks. So I don't, let's see, where are we going to go from here? Matt, you coming back on here? So I just a quick wrap here with you. I mean, I guess, you know, you've been involved with ETHDenver since the beginning, and, you know, you've seen it evolve. I mean, does it blow your mind as much as it blows mine? Like 9 tracks, dude. Like, I mean, you've helped with judging and whatnot before, and we're going to have the judging folks, Jason, talk about a lot more of the kind of details, but $1 million in prizes and bounties, dude.
I don't know how you guys even have your heads on straight, like with all of this stuff going on. Like, it's actually crazy. It's crazy to think. And then of course last year you did it virtually, which was actually like, it was probably one of the best attended virtual events in all of crypto for the entire time.
If not the most attended.
It was the most, I think.
The most attended, yeah.
And it was the most fun too. I mean, I remember running around the virtual sports castle, and you would run around and you'd sneak up behind me as the buffacorn and stuff, and you'd be lurking.
Or running around as the spork marmot in the little, you know, UFO saucer.
Yeah, I mean, so like, what's this meta crap, you know? Like, I mean, we were doing the metaverse thing last year at ETHDenver, but now, you know, we're rightfully so, we're going back to a big in-person event. I think it's incredible. I'm just so blown away by the response you guys have had and just how big it's going to be this year. I'm just super excited, man. And I've seen it evolve. Like, I saw it go from, I think the big leap was I wasn't actually at year one, but that's too bad. But I think from 2019 to 2020, it got just like much, much more cleaner and more efficient. And I mean, you guys had it dialed in. 2020 was really, really incredibly well done. Jared Polis, the governor, on stage, I mean, incredible stuff. It was just really cool. And I think that this year it's going to be mind blowing to see all this stuff going on. I just don't know how we're going to like split ourselves into multiple people and attend everything.
I know. Well, I don't think you'll be able to. I mean, I think that's the one downside of what we've kind of got here. We've got an interested population of over 10,000 people to show up to an event that historically we've only hosted 2,500 at our peak in 2020. So we are having to really contort ourselves and change sort of the way we think about activities and consumption and community, and how do we really create sort of cohesiveness still. It's not an easy thing. In fact, you mentioned 3 venues. You could argue that Maris Gallery and Temple are 2, so that's 4, and then we're actually adding another venue for Hacker Overflow Space. So like it's a lot. It's a lot. And how are we keeping ourselves together? Well, I think per last week's live stream as evidence, my head's not together. I mean, I was absolutely exhausted and looked like absolute trash on last week's live stream. I mean, I looked like I was going to fall asleep, which I probably was if I wasn't talking to you. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but we couldn't do it without the stewardship. I mean, yourself included. We have 30 stewards or something like that. That's core. And then we have a event production team. And then we have another 200 volunteers that, help glue this thing together. It might be more than that this year in terms of volunteers, just because of the sheer size of it. I mean, it's insane. So, what I think it's a testament of, I don't like to take a lot of credit for any of this, because I don't think it has much to do. The ultimate execution has very little to do with me. The execution has to do with the fact that we've been able to get our community passionately connected to the purpose and goals and vision of ETHDenver. And it's not just an event. It's not just a social hour. We're a global building community. I like to say that we're evolving into being a decentralized Y Combinator. You've got demo day on Sunday the 20th, and then the rest of the year is, building and incubating these early stage technology projects, collaborating amongst teams, cross-pollinating technology, mentoring noobs, that are coming in, the up and comers, who's the next class of that. Like, these are things that really get us jazzed, and, the community has responded by supporting it. So yeah, it's quite a spectacle. So I don't know, I'm stoked. It's like the highlight of my year, even though we did it virtually in 2021. It was so fun. Like, I mean, I did all sorts of different things, and like we had Gamer Jibe, which will actually be back. So we will have the virtual castle back in addition to our IRL location. So if you're not able to attend in person, you'll still be able to come and socialize in the virtual castle, which was super fun. I'll be running around there again in my pink buffacorn costume. Maybe I'll do the rainbow one this year. But yeah, we've got a ton of things in store. Some people say it's like, well, how are you guys going to outdo yourselves this year? And it's like, we don't see it as outdoing. It's how do we just, continue to deliver experiences for the community that are meaningful and memorable? Because I think that's the thing that really differentiates ETHDenver. And, we're about to talk about one of the core elements that actually makes that happen, the art, right? We activate our ecosystem environment. I mean, the sports castle, when it's a bare shell, like I was just over there, it's a really pretty sad building, If you didn't know what goes on in that building during ETHDenver, you would have no idea, right? But it's funny because there was little remnants. There's like little pieces of art, the little decals on the front doors, things that are happening. So we're going to welcome Jess Angel to talk to us about She is our art steward. She's literally been with us since the very beginning.
That's right.
And you know, she heads up the creative direction for the ecosystem space and the attendee experience as we create these sort of fully encompassing experiences. So I'm going to step off the stage and let y'all do your thing. But Jess, wonderful to see you.
Thank you, John. Thanks for the intro. Excited about being here again. All right, awesome. Thank you so much. So as John was saying, I started with ETHDenver in 2018, and I started directing the Makerspace, which is the 6th floor of the sports castle, this grungy kind of punky space. And what I did was to put together a program and invite programmers and artists to hack together and just like find intersections between blockchain data and live objects, Arduinos, Raspberry Pis, also video projections, video mapping projections, mural works, and kind of find a way to bring to ETHDenver this experience for hackers and for artists to find a common ground and start hacking and integrating. Also, the Makerspace is this sort of hub for new projects in the art and blockchain space to sort of get bootstrapped and supported by ETHDenver. And then after 2018, we did the Makerspace again, 2019. And then for 2020, we ramped up my creative sort of vision for ETHDenver. And then what I did was to basically take over the creative vision of the whole event. And then I'm doing that this year again. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about my background as a visual artist. So you understand once you go to the castle and the other venues of the ETHDenver 2022, what we're calling the campus, because it's several buildings, you're going to see some visuals. And so I created those, and so you know where this all comes from. So maybe we can see the next slide. So I'm Jessica Angel. You can find me as Crypto Artsy on Twitter and Instagram. And these are just some images of the kind of work that I do, taking over walls and spaces in museums and galleries. And with ETHDenver, it's kind of the first time that I bring like artistic work to something more like stage design and this kind of stuff. And then my interest lies in, with my art, kind of bringing together the physical and the virtual and making a reflection on how these two are sort of working together. They're not opposites, but they're kind of this sort of yin yang relationship. So the works that I do are entirely physical, and I create them kind of handmade with adhesive vinyl and wallpapering. And so I want to bring this vision to the space of the castle and like bring this sort of experience. Kind of you can dive into the space of information, or you can dive into a motherboard and go sightseeing. So that's kind of where I come from. If we see the next slide, you're going to see how I kind of brought that vision into 2020's stage. So basically, the idea was to create a rainbow road that would go around all this space, and people would be able to find their way around the building. So for those who don't know the castle, I'm going to tell you, it's easy to get lost there. It's this sort of labyrinth of super interesting spaces, and each one of these spaces is going to be inhabited by really cool stuff, you know, whether it is a project, whether it is a stage, a hacker area, a shill zone, a zen zone. As you probably saw in that video at the beginning, we have all these different spaces that we're filling with creative vibes. And when I say creative, I'm not even just talking about visually creative. I feel that our hackers on their tables, they're just heads down coding. That in itself is a creative act. And I think that's the reason why art plays such an important role in ETHDenver. It's because the creative side of things is enhanced. You know, we are all creators of the space, whether it is from, you know, the visual side of things or the coding side of things. So we're in a way all artists, and we're all creating in this space. So when you go to the castle this year, I'm not displaying what we're doing this year because it's a surprise. But just to give you a little bit of a teaser, instead of using adhesive vinyl, we're going to be using lasers. And that's really cool because this year the theme is the way. And as I mentioned before with my own art, I try to recreate spaces that resemble the space of information. So for this year, my vision is like, okay, we're diving into this dark space of information, kind of vaporware, retro 80s Tron style inspired. So that's kind of the general vision. It's going to be really cool. It's been a process of experimentation with different teams to reach this level of laser stage sort of integration. So I think you're going to have a lot of fun with that. And then my role as the art steward is sort of oversee not just the makerspace or the stage design, but basically everything creative that is happening, which is a lot. So we have actually a big team coming on this year, which is the Trippy and Entoptic team, a beautiful LED screen that is going to be showcasing crypto art and some really big names. So you're going to be very impressed with that. The Photon 7 team, which is the laser design, we're going to have a lot of different interventions by that team. The IRL team, which is led by Annie Phillips with the art gallery, amazing submissions from the artists that have already been in ETHDenver. New artists are popping in the NFT space, which, as you probably already know, is very hot. So that's bringing a lot of new blood into the art and blockchain space, which is really great. And ETHDenver wants to provide a platform for these new artists to find a place to get started and bootstrapped and seeing some of them for the first time. So that's exciting too. And we have another team of local Denver artists. We want to make sure that the Denver scene, the local Denver scene of artists also gets a really important spot in the event. So the makerspace is actually expanding. And we have a team, Jeff and Diana Merkel are taking over the makerspace and inviting all these wonderful artists that are local, and they're taking over all these little rooms that used to be little office spaces. And so imagine like a Meow Wolf experience there. It's going to be mind-blowing, super, creator focused. So yeah, that's basically what I'm running. I hope that you guys participate at the Makerspace this year. We're going to have Evan Trumbull and Ian Nash, who actually have been since 2018 from the beginning, providing hacking resources, hardware resources like you see in this image. And they're going to be giving some workshops that include all materials. So if you're a hacker who wants to play with Arduinos, Raspberry Pi, soldering, getting blockchain data connected to wearables, to jewelry, to objects via LEDs and so on, music, sound, we're going to be doing that. And obviously it's free. And just to close my section here, the makerspace, as well as, the ethos of ETHDenver, as John was mentioning, is about community of communities. It is about integration, collaboration, interdisciplinary, cross-pollination. So the makerspace is going to have different teams, but as you go there through the 32 hours of the event, you're just going to see all these teams organically merge with each other and generate a common space where they all take a part of the same thing. So that's super exciting. Thank you so much.
Wow, Jessica, I just want to say thanks for going over all of that, and thanks for the previous years where you have just created the most amazing vibe. I said it in the first live stream that the vibe for ETHDenver is something that you do not get from any other conference, event, hackathon. You get this you just get this incredible kind of community vibe. Like everybody's there, everybody's coming together, everybody's helping, everybody's hacking, and the amount of like kind of cultural exposure and sort of inclusivity that you and your team do with this art and making this space at home is incredible. So thank you so much for going over anything. Is there anything else you'd like to say about this before we jump to Jason and talk about the judging?
On my end?
You're still here.
Oh, okay. I thought you were asking maybe questions from the community, because I see some.
Oh no, I think we did get something from Twitch like pop up.
Yes,
Yeah,
I saw
it was kind of confusing.
No, I basically just want to extend an invitation for everybody to hop on the creative train. You know, just make it fun and beautiful.
Are you excited to see what's going on this year because of NFTs having kind of exploded during the pandemic? Like in person, we'll be able to probably hack on and experience a lot of, like sort of meta and meat space kind of crossover work. Like, are you really excited for this year because you're going to get to explore these concepts now?
Yeah, absolutely. Even though we've been exploring those concepts since way before, you know, we're certainly ahead of the curve here. I'm excited about, basically seeing how NFTs can be integrated with many other things. They're just not only there for us to take in visually or hold on our wallets. Like, to what extent can these NFTs break the ice and start a new sort of exploration journey? So that's what we're going to be doing basically with the hacking at the makerspace. And I'm sure actually in years past, what we do at the makerspace has ended up being in, the finalists. So for hackers who want to, think outside the box, I think that's the place to go. And we've had in our alumni some winners up there too. So there's always good stuff.
Well, we're truly honored to have you. And I do also want to give a shout out to your other work in my hometown, Vancouver, just around the street from my house, basically, the Vancouver Biennial. Your stuff underneath the Cambie Street Bridge, I am literally seeing it like happen.
Let's share the video. Thanks for reminding me. I wanted to share a video of that work. I think Jonathan, I don't know, in the backstage could play it for us, but I'm not sure if we have time for that. It's just probably a minute or two. But if we don't, yes, it's called Voxel Bridge. So you can go on Twitter or on Instagram and look for that hashtag and you'll see it. And that's part of the inspiration actually for some of the stuff that I'm doing with ETHDenver, my personal artist work.
Well, how do people find you? How do people find out about you? What's your Twitter?
So Twitter, I'm Crypto Artsy. Also Crypto Artsy on Instagram. I'm not that active on Instagram, mostly Twitter. And you can find my artwork at jessicaangelarts.com.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jessica, for taking the time today to give us a sneak peek.
Absolutely.
All right. So next we're going to bring up Jason Lee. He's going to go over all the judging details. So I know a lot of hackers are eager to hear this. And then after, Jason, I think you're going to go straight into the mountain retreat information.
Yeah. So we'll start with talking about judging. I think Derek's going to jump in here as well because he's gonna kind of co-host with me.
Awesome. Well, I'll go backstage and let you guys take care of it. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, and then we'll jump into the mountains after. So.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, what's up?
GM, everyone. Thanks for coming to the stream.
Cool. So I'm gonna kind of go through, and Derek's gonna help me make sure that I'm going through everything.
Yeah, I think this is our most commonly asked about stuff in the Discord, so I'm glad we really finally get into some details here.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we have thus far when it comes to judging is we've had about 600 people apply to want to judge the hackers. And so it's what we're in the process of doing is sending out prospect letters to everyone. So probably in the next week, if you've applied, you should start seeing an email from me. It's going to include a link to kind of a questionnaire, because what we want to do is we want to make sure that we are getting people that are business minded. So you could be like business, operational, maybe you're an investor or you're focused on design. And we want to be able to like identify those people. And then we also want to be able to identify the people that are like technologists, engineers, developers. And then the goal here is to like pair them together. So we're going to be creating like teams of 3 to 4 judges that make up both of the groups of people. So that way, everyone feels like they're being heard by the business people, and they're also being heard by the technologists, which was something that we got from like the 2019 hackathon or ETHDenver. So that was kind of a big thing there. But yeah.
Yeah, speaking of taking our learnings from prior years, we were in the virtual castle with the Gamer Jibe team. Shout outs to Gamer Jibe. This past year for obvious reasons. And this year, we're not only going back physically, we're going to have physical and virtual aspects of ETHDenver. And there's a lot of opportunity and some confusion there. So now that we're talking about judges, can you explain to folks the relationship between in-person judging versus virtual judging?
Yeah. So to judge at ETHDenver, physically in Denver, you'll have to be in person. If you're not attending, unfortunately, you won't be able to judge the physical people because of you're going to have to physically go around and get a pitch in front of someone. Virtual judging, which was going to happen later in March, anyone that is accepted will be able to do virtual judging, including the people that did in person. So if an in-person judge also wants to participate in the virtual judging basically in March, they'll be able to do that. So It kind of creates some fun, and it also allows those that maybe can't come and participate in person, they'll be able to participate online. So that's our hope.
Yeah, my favorite thing about this is that, like most aspects of ETHDenver, it's community made. When people are applying, they can just indicate, hey, I'm interested in judging, and we're going to reach out to you, and we need your help. We don't have enough people on the core team to be able to see all the amazing projects being made. So thank you to everyone who indicated interest.
Yeah. So we'll, again, this upcoming week, we'll start sending those out. So be on the lookout. So if we jump to the next slide. All right. So another big question that Derek's been getting on the Discord channel is, what about sponsor bounties? What do sponsors need to do?
So what is a bounty?
So a bounty is the sponsor bounty. So sponsors will have specific challenges that hackers can work on. So it's specific to just the bounty or the sponsor. Whereas the track are those 9 tracks that John previously was talking about. So if you want to create a project that is in the DeFi space, you would choose the DeFi track. If you wanted to choose the NFT, you could choose the NFT track. Now, all the bounties that the sponsors are providing are available to anyone along any of the tracks.
Nice. So one project can apply to a track and several bounties.
Correct. And I know it's on the next slide, but we'll just stay here for a moment. Each team will be able to submit up to 10 bounties. So you're ultimately going for the track prize, and then you also have the ability to also go for the individual bounties. So it kind of creates a fun ecosystem of earning potential, and challenges. So in regards to, if you are a sponsor, there's going to be an email going out this upcoming week. It's going to provide a place for you to be able to do bounty payments. It's going to allow you to submit all the criteria and information about the bounties, as well as designating who the judges are for your bounties. And part of the experience is we're going to have hundreds of bounties. So how do you know what a sponsor is providing? So we're going to have them create like short little videos that kind of provide information about what is it that they do, What are the different bounties that are available? What are the awarded prizes that are available? And then what's the criteria that's going to be available? So all that information they're going to be working on. We're going to receive it by January 31st. And then we will be publishing all that data on February 11th, which is the actual start of the hackathon. So,
why then? Why can't you just tell us early?
So the biggest thing here is we want to make sure that no one is jumping ahead and starts hacking and building their project. We want kind of create a fair economy to where people that show up in person as well as are showing up online, we want to make sure that everyone is just kind of starting fresh.
Makes
and then
sense.
whatever we see is the works of that week, so, or the month for virtual. So
what else do you have to tell us, Jason?
All right, so now we're going to kind of jump into the actual guidelines. So we've been working on this article that's being published today on the ETHDenver website that's going to go over all of the judging guidelines. It's a lengthy read, but what I'm going to do is we're going to go through it and kind of just break down the key parts. And then if you want the further details, I'd just encourage you to go to the website and check it out, because it provides a lot of great insight into how do you build your team, what's the schedule like. There's a lot of information, but we're going to actually jump into it right now. So first two topics I want to talk about is how do you build a team and what are the team guidelines. So to build a team, we're going to provide different places to do it. Now, you might be coming in with a group of friends. You might be hanging out on the Discord channel. So we have the, It's the Find a Team channel where you can actually go in and communicate with people and say, these are the ideas that I have. Are there any other people that are really interested in what I am? And then they can kind of get together and have a conversation about this is what we should build. We can kind of collaborate. So that's like one way.
And if I may jump in, we're also going to have one channel for each track, just to make it so someone who's interested in Space and the New Frontier can have an easier time finding other people who are interested in that, and instead of it getting drowned in all the other stuff. So
that's great.
I look forward to seeing everyone in the Discord. You can join today. We will be having icebreakers after the stream ends.
Cool. I love that. So the other place, there's basically two other places that you can also kind of create teams. One is Biddle Week. So last week, Dan Shields, who's the steward of Biddle Week, talked about all the different workshops and events that are happening on from February 11th through February 17th. So all that information is going to be available on the website. There's a really cool new tool that we have coming out where you can actually build kind of your timeline for all the different workshops that you want to go through. But we're going to have more information about that coming up. But that's a great place to kind of connect with other developers as well as other team members. So maybe you're a creative or a business person. So group collaboration. So that's kind of what that looks like. The second part of what makes up a team is that a team is part of two people. So a minimum of two people to participate, maximum of four. So to kind of drive what John talked about, even what Jessica talked about, collaboration is really the key. We want multiple people participating and engaging with each other, or we're not, ETHDenver isn't a solo sport. We really want to be able to get together, hang out, share ideas, build the next, OpenSea, OpenSail, whatever, DeFi, Inch. I mean, there's so many things that have come out of this.
Yeah.
And it's all been out of collaboration. Which
I mean, the Bufficorn embodies that, right? The strength of the buffalo and the magic of the unicorn. And unicorns are solitary creatures. You only ever see them alone. And we're a herd here. If you join the Discord, you're in the herd. If you come to ETHDenver, you're in the herd. And we have a big tent and a blank canvas, and we're here to help everyone build whatever their dreams are.
Yeah.
Can't do it alone, folks. Hate to say it.
Yeah. Well, look at how many people make this event happen. It's so beautiful. So, okay. So another big question that I get is what is staying the same in regards to the years past, as well as what changes have been made. So each judging group will be put together into 3 to 4 people in a team. There's going to be multiple teams of judges that are responsible for the different tracks. So if we go back to the tracks, there will be judging groups that are specific to every single track. And then there will also be judges that are business minded. There'll be judges that are technically minded. They'll be paired together. The things that have changed are the locations. So John mentioned we have Sports Castle, we have the Maris Gallery, we have the Art Hotel, and then we also have what is it, 1134? I think it's 1134. So those are going to be all locations that hacking are going to be happening. Then there's also going to be a community voting option that's coming up, and we're going to talk about that next week. But that's going to be really cool. And then the virtual hacking and virtual judging, all that information will happen in March. So information on that's going to be coming. And then, the other big thing here is that if you are showing up in real life and you're hacking, and this is something that I'm really excited about, you can actually continue hacking after ETHDenver in real life happens, and you can continue working on your project. So it's going to be one of those like extensions to where we'll see a lot of people coming and hanging out on Discord and participating and engaging with people. So I'm really excited about that too.
We're going to keep the party going.
Yes, we are. So as John mentioned about the tracks, there's 9 different tracks to choose from this upcoming year. And you can only participate in one track. So you can't participate in, say, NFT and the gaming and metaverse.
What? I can't submit a project that's DeFi in space? Why can't I do both?
No. So there's the idea is that you're going to focus on a individual track. So you're going to have to choose, and then that's just how we're doing it this year. So, but you can still get all the different bounties. So each team that is part of it is basically the end goal is to make it. So when all the judges go through and judge, which I'm going to talk about here in a moment, you're going to be fighting for the top 30 spots. So that's kind of like the direction that we're going. So bounties. So I kind of talked about this early on. What is a track? Just as a refresher, a track is a topic or a category within the space. So you have like the DeFi, you have the NFT. So those are all the different tracks, and there's 9 of them. Then there's bounties. So bounties are the sponsored bounties, and those are individual challenges that every single sponsor has created for you to hack on. So, and then the number of sponsor bounties per project that a team can submit is going to be a maximum of 10. So I don't know how someone can fit 10 bounties into a project. People do it all the time, and it's really amazing. It requires a whole nother level of genius.
It's the Legos, right? You're going to take something from Chainlink and build something else on top of it and make a new thing.
Yeah. So, all right. So the other big question that I got was the difference between in-person bounties versus virtual bounties. So one of the things that we're working on, or what we're hoping to see, is that we want to see equitable rewards for people that are both in person and online. So what we're going to do is every sponsor's bounties, 50% of their prizes and cash rewards are all going to be in person, and then 50% have to be designated for virtual. So if someone wants to hack on like one challenge, that's build a wallet, we are encouraging sponsors to also provide that challenge on virtual. So they're both the same. Now, one of a great point that we got from Polkadot was, what if we wanted to be able to provide a harder challenge, because the virtual hackathon is happening for 30 plus days. So we're totally fine with that. The big thing for us is we want to encourage you to have similar bounties available for both online and in person. And then we also are keeping it open. So if you want to build a giant blockchain project, or build a DeFi project, you can do that. So there's no limitation there.
ETHDenver is really going hybrid this year. The virtual experience is not going to be a second-class one. I hope everyone appreciates that Jason really strongly advocated to make sure that fully half of the money that's on the table is reserved for the virtual biddlers.
Yeah. So we had great long conversations about that, but I'm excited about it. So, so the total sponsor bounties as of earlier today, from what we heard, was that $1 million, which is really mind-blowing, because in years past it was only like 250,000, which at that time was mind-blowing. So to be at $1 million is pretty spectacular. So ultimately $500,000 is up for grabs if you're participating in the in-person, and 500,000 is available to you if you're participating in the virtual. So that is going to be amazing. And then we also have the convertible seed grants. So last year, John talked about it a little bit, but we have now Colorado Jam. We have the Bufficorn Ventures. So those are both like pre-seed and seed investments. So kind of going back to talking about being able to hack first in Denver and then go hack online, we really want to foster a community to where you can take your project from physical, bring it online, keep working on it, and then we actually want to invest money into your company so you can actually quit your job and actually continue participating and building out the economy. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, we're serious about this. And the fact that it's public money from the state of Colorado and private money through Bufficorn Ventures is mind-blowing to me. And the size of the checks that we're going to be writing to teams to say, yeah, quit your job, drop out of college for a year or so, and really try to make this thing happen. We're going above and beyond the $1,000, $2,000, good job, go back to your life type money there.
Cool. So that kind of covers everything in bounties. If you want more details on it, there's a whole long list of additional details on the article that's coming out. So let's talk quickly about judging criteria.
Ooh.
So there's two types of judges this year for ETHDenver. We have a lot of people that have applied to come and hack, and so there's just not going to be enough time for a sponsor judge to also participate in the actual ETHDenver tracking judging. So we're splitting it. So sponsor judges are going to I lost my train of thought there.
Are you referring to bounties with sponsor judging?
Yeah. So sponsors are going to judge the bounties of their bounties, and that's what they'll do. And then there will be a separate group of judges that are specifically just judging the tracks. So that will kind of allow for us to make sure that we're getting through everyone, because we're expecting over 400 teams to be participating this year, which is
that's a lot of presentations.
It's a lot of presentations. So with that comes, we've kind of created a general all tracks criteria of what the categories are. Now, every single sponsor can also create their own criteria, and all that information will get shared and posted on February 11th when we actually launch. So all that details will kind of jump in. Now, in years past, we've had the impact track. So the impact track is like, it kind of takes things a step further over the open track idea. And so this is like criteria for like what project is the most impactful. So we're looking at things like from the UN's sustainable development goals. So does that project fulfill on those? What are projects that are most sustainable? So is this solving like a practical solution? How is this going to keep the economy or the blockchain community growing? Is this a one and done, or is this going to be something that keeps giving? So we have that. And then there's also the best use of the crypto or the blockchain tech. So these are going to be additional criteria if you apply to build your product on the impact track. So lots of different criteria. All that information will be made available on February 11th. You can see the judging criteria for all the tracks and what our recommendation is. And ultimately, people will also end up creating their own criteria. So kind of excited about it. So more details on that to come.
Yeah, it sounds like we're decentralizing even judging itself. Sponsors handle the bounties. We have all these volunteers handling judging in person. And then next week, we'll get into more detail about the community voting round, where every single attendee is going to have a chance to share their vote about which projects they thought were the best.
Yeah, lots of time and thinking went into this. So, all right. So this year for submitting projects, we're moving to a new platform. So we have partnered with Dora Hacks. And they have a platform called hackerlink.io. It's a blockchain powered submission portal where you'll be able to create an account for your team, create individual accounts for each hacker. That's where you'll be able to submit all your information about your project.
And bounties on there too?
And the bounties are also on there as well. Wow. So it's kind of the full solution for every information for the hackathon.
Nice.
So we're going to be providing more details about that when we actually come up in February, on February 11th. But you can kind of see on the website the basic list of project criteria, but then we'll actually go into it a little bit further on February 11th. So all more things to come. So there we go. All right. So now now we get into the fun.
Walk me through it. So you're talking about February 20th, the Sunday, we're closing. This is the big day. Teams have been working for over a week or hustling over the weekend to make a cool project, and it's finally time for them to show it off.
Exactly. So there are 2 rounds of judging. So the first round of judging, and I'm gonna break this down based off of team guidelines and then judging guidelines. So the team guidelines are 8 a.m. Your project has to be completed and submitted to hackerlink.io. If it's 8:01, the contract says null and voided. But the cool thing is you can resubmit it to the virtual hackathon. But we don't want that. We want you to actually participate in the main one. So you have that. Judging will start at 10 a.m. Judging also, what that means is that's when all the judges are going to go. What that means for you as a team is that you will have to all be sitting at your table. So every single team will receive a notice, whether it's on Discord or email, saying this is what building you are in. This is your table. We're going to organize it so that all the DeFi people are on a line of like tables. We're going to put all the metaverse and gaming in a space. The NFTs are all going to be in the space because we're going to be sending all of our judges out there, and they're just going to go one after another looking at them to basically build up the pool of our top 30. So it'll be really fun. The pitch time this year is set to 5 minutes. So you have basically like 30 seconds to, hi, my name is, 2.5 minutes to say, pitch your actual project, and then 1.5 minutes of questions from the judges. So that's going to be kind of like what that looks like. You can do whatever you want with your 5 minutes, but you have 5 minutes, and there will be volunteers going around with the judging team to actually like time to say, hey, it's 5 minutes. We got to go to the next one. And we're doing this because there's so many teams that are coming. We got to make sure that we get through them so we can stay on track for the closing ceremony. once your project has been viewed by the track judges, as well as viewed by any of the bounty judges that have come through, you are encouraged to get up and go talk with the other people. We really want this to be a science fair. I think it's really fun. I remember going in 2020, going through and looking at all the NFT people, looking at there was some really cool projects in the naming space. So it was really fun to kind of get to know people and kind of see those projects. And now some of those projects are like $8-9 million in funding. So it's really awesome to kind of go and explore, and highly encourage people to do that. And then the end goal here is that we are going to take the 400 plus teams and we're going to narrow them down into 30 projects. So, and I'll talk about what that looks like from a judge's perspective. So if we go to the next slide.
Jason, we have a question from the chat. Someone's asking if they can have a team that's half on-site and half remote at the same time.
That is a great question, and I don't have an answer for you. And I will work on getting you an answer, and then we'll publish that in Discord.
We'll make it very clear. And then we had another question, which is, where can we go to find a team to team up with? Do you know the answer to that one?
Yeah, so there's a couple. So first place is Discord. So if you go to Discord, there's a channel, hashtag find my team or find the team. And then as Derek mentioned early on, there's actually going to be individual tracks for every single ways to kind of engage. So like if you're interested in NFT and you want to find a bunch of NFT people, you can do that.
We got a channel for that.
Yeah, so it'll be spaces for space. And the new frontier. I'm really excited about that one. So you have that. Were there any other questions before I jump?
No, go ahead, please.
Cool. Sweet. All right. So the judging guidelines, first round. So as I've mentioned before, each judging team is going to be 3 to 4 people that make up the team. There's going to be a briefing that happens at 9:30 a.m. We're going to talk about what the process and what the flow is going to look like. We're going to talk about the packet that they're going to receive. And then at 10 a.m., they're going to be dispersed across all the different venues. Each team is going to judge up to 16 teams, and they're going to be 5-minute pitches. And each team will also have a volunteer moving around with them to make sure we're moving on time. Each judge will be individually voting for their top 3 teams. And then from that, that one team will then say, this is our pick for who we want to send to the finals. And then we'll just collectively tally up those people, and then we will end up informing them that they have been chosen to participate in the top 30 final spots. So the final round is the top 30 teams. Every team, it will be presenting in 3 minutes instead of 5 minutes. And then there will be 1 minute in questions. There will be 5 celebrity judges there to listen to every single pitch and present.
Literally Shark Tank style?
Shark Tank style.
Okay,
exactly. And so what they will be doing is they will be reviewing the project, and then they will also be choosing their top pick. Now, after the judges finish, we're going to introduce the Macy community voting, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more next week. We're still ironing out the details on that, but that's going to be community voting for their favorite projects. And then, so yeah.
If we could jump back real quick.
Yeah, if we could jump back to that last slide. We'll just kind of finish up here. Thank you. So then the monetary prizes from the track prize pool, what does that look like from a distribution perspective? That is, if there's, say, $15,000 in the say a track, and out of the 30 judges or the 30 teams that make it to the final stage, there will always be a minimum of 2 teams per track. So we're always going to get to experience at least 2 teams.
We're going to space no matter what.
Right, exactly. If, let's say, the Space and New Frontier, let's say it has 4 teams that get submitted for that track, then those 4 teams will split that $15,000 prize pool. So ultimately, you're good to go. Now, the other cool thing here that we're adding this year is that the celebs that are judging your project are also going to be able to give a cash prize. So they will each get to choose their favorite project out of the 30 that presented. So one, you can get recognized by a celebrity judge, which we haven't announced yet, and you'll also get a cash prize from them. So you get kind of like the best of 2 worlds. Like, I got so-and-so's best project.
Yeah.
Or favorite project.
Yeah, that'll probably be worth putting in the Twitter bio for that project.
Totally. I'm very excited. But yeah, more info on that coming soon. So what's coming up in the coming weeks? We're going to release information about the judging criteria and the vision for each track, which John talked about early on. We're going to talk about the Macy community voting, how that's going to work. What is that? How does that look? We're going to talk about the track sponsors and who those sponsors are. And then we're going to have the icebreaker directly after this. So go there now and start participating, and we'll jump in there in a moment after
Jason,
we talk about. Yeah.
When can people expect all this information and all of its detail up on our website?
So is it up there? I don't know if it's up there. We submitted it yesterday, and I know that we have a lot of web pages being updated. Okay. So
maybe by Monday, give or take.
I hope that it's going to be up there maybe today, maybe by Monday. But
all right.
I'll let you know, and then you can let the Discord world know.
I'll add everyone.
So, but yeah, that will be there. So, lots of info. Any questions, hit us up in the Discord. But that's everything that I have thus far. I know it's a lot of information.
And it's only the beginning, because there's a lot more to say. But we want to give it to y'all one chunk at a time, because we know it's important and you're curious. And it's the kind of stuff you need to know if you're going to be successful at this event.
So cool. Mountain retreat.
You are the judging steward and the mountain retreat steward.
I am.
You do a lot of work.
Wear many hats. I wear many hats, but I like it. I love this. I love this community. So, all right, let's talk about the mountain retreat.
Can you remind folks what it is?
So mountain retreat is, we are heading up to Breckenridge, Colorado. I almost said California. Breckenridge, Colorado. And we are going to spend a couple days skiing and snowboarding, hanging out around the city, going, eating, drinking, having fun, talking about all the fun things that we did at ETHDenver, maybe building more relationships. It's just a way to kind of R&R, get away after a long week of biddling, and kind of recharge and have fun and enjoy the Colorado outdoors. Some people are skiing, some people are snowboarding, some people are hiking.
I'm just going to drink cocoa. I don't really.
You're just going to drink cocoa.
Go out there.
And then some people are. I heard ice skating. There's a tube park, like you can get in the tubes and go down a giant tube terrain. There's all sorts of fun things to do up there. So we're working on kind of providing all those details and options. So transportation wise, how do we get up there? Well, on the application, we had 2,000 people say that they're coming to the mountain, which is a lot of people. And so thus far, we've had about 6.5 buses filled of people coming up to the mountain. So what does that translate in people? It's about 320 so people say that they want a ride on the bus. So we originally, in years past, only did 2 buses. We have decided that because we're at 6.5 buses, and we usually don't get our mass forms of like applications until I think the last 2 weeks of January, and then early first week, we're expecting that to kind of keep going up. So we have increased our capacity for buses. So if you are like, I missed it because there's no way I'm part of the 110. No. If you are part of the first 500, you can come join us up in the mountain. So we have 10 buses that are going up to Breckenridge this year, and we're really excited about it.
If someone gets a spot on that bus, do they also have a spot on the bus back?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Sure. We're not going to strand people up there.
Okay.
You have if you have a ticket, we're going to leave Art Hotel and we're going to go up to Breckenridge. We're going to have a stop at like the gondola area, which is kind of more of like a central location. And then we also will have it at the DoubleTree, which is the actual official like ETHDenver hotel. And then people will be able to migrate to their different places. Now, the great thing about Breckenridge is that they have great transportation for all the lodging. So they're used to picking up people and moving people from places. So if you don't end up in the DoubleTree or you end up somewhere else, you can actually request that Vail Resorts pick you up, drive you to where you want. It's a very beautiful thing. So 10 buses, round trip, Denver to Breck. And then on the way back, you'll actually be able to designate, I'm going to Union Station. So if you want to come back to Denver and you're local, then you go that way. Or if you are flying out, you can go to Denver International Airport. And so we'll kind of have it split up. Some buses DIA direct, some Union Station, some a hybrid. But ideally, if you're talking about flights, you want to be looking at flights that are like 3 p.m. after, because we will arrive at DIA after about 3 p.m. is the goal for the buses. Now, we do have a fee for this year. So because of the band, we can't cover all 10 buses. So what we're going to do is it's going to be $25 round trip. We'll get you to the mountain.
It's pretty good.
Back to Denver. Very cheap. I mean, it's cheaper than my Suburban takes when I go from Denver to Breckenridge. So it's quite the deal. So there's that. And so I will have confirmations coming out this upcoming week. And you can basically self-assure that if you've already applied as of today, so I'll say as of 10 a.m. this morning, if you have applied requesting a seat, you have a seat. I'll go back and look and see what happens after this. But that's that. All right, let's go to the next slide. Hotels. So on the reservation form, we had 99 people say that they want a hotel room for themselves, 155 people that are open to sharing a room with other people, and then 74 that want to find a room with their own friends. Now, that's a lot of people, which requires a lot of hotel rooms. So ETHDenver has booked out the DoubleTree at Breckenridge. We were able to obtain about 50% of the hotel. We have finalized the details, and links for that should be coming out in the next couple of days. Hopefully today, hopefully by Monday. So I'm just waiting for those links. Now, that obviously is not going to cover, in this case, 99 people that want their own rooms, 155 and 74. So we're also working with Vail Resorts to find additional spaces. We're also talking with Airbnb about some potential possibilities of working with them to find condos that people can share. And I think it'd probably be a good idea on Discord to maybe have a channel for like room share for Breckenridge. So if people want to find other people, but the link will be coming.
We already got it. The alpha here is that the discount codes, as they are negotiated and ready to be announced, always get dropped into the Discord first before they go out more publicly on like Twitter.
Cool. So there's that. And then I think I have one more slide, and then I think we can jump over. So lift tickets and rentals. So the week that we have ETHDenver is Vail Resorts, Vail Resorts, which is the parent company, and Breckenridge, that is like prime time for skiing. So there is no discounts on tickets, but there's limitations on tickets. So if you have a desire to go skiing or snowboarding or use any of the recreational things on the mountain, I would highly encourage you to go buy your ticket now. Yeah. If you go to Breckenridge.com or snow.com, you can buy a 1-day pass or a 2-day pass, or maybe you're going to stay extra. and you can get basically a $30 discount for each day. Unfortunately, though, no discounts on the tickets. I would have loved that because there's like 300 people that want lift tickets. So kind of a large group of people. And we are coming out with some ways to identify ourselves as bufficorns on the mountain. So it'll be kind of fun.
Will Buffy the Bufficorn be making a cameo in Snowboard?
I think we should request that of John.
Great.
Like get John in the Bufficorn suit and then go up the mountain and then
Great.
go down. And then if you have an Epic Pass or Epic Local Pass, you're good. They've already accounted for you to being there. So there's no restrictions if you have an Epic Pass or an Epic Local, and you'll be good to go. So that's kind of my mountain retreat update.
Thanks, Jason. You've been working hard to make sure all the ducks are in a row there.
Yes, it's been fun, and I love doing it. So, but I think I'm done. So I think we're ready to jump over to the Discord.
Yeah, I would love to keep answering everyone's questions. I'll just make one last plug for our Discord. I'm biased. I'm the community manager over there, community steward, excuse me. And we're going to be having icebreakers right after this. I hope everyone joins, deals with our CAPTCHA flow so we can make sure we don't get spam bots, and we'll see you there.
Matt.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for all the detailed information about judging and the mountain retreat. I think the only thing that we need to remember is we got to get organized right away. With 10,000 people coming to Denver, Colorado, and millions of dollars in bounties, grants, and follow-on funding for projects, you got to apply now, and you got to sort out your details, and you got to get over to Denver, Colorado for February 11 to 20. And if you're staying for the mountain retreat, you better buy your lift tickets now. In fact, that's probably the next thing that I'm going to do. One thing that's nice about hosting these things is I get to find out what I need to do still. So I'm very excited for ETHDenver 2022 and excited to see everybody there. I hope to meet everybody in person. Take care.